Fuck. Alright. I kind of wanted to do this video, shooting from the hip. I ain't got no notes or nothing, just because these are fresh thoughts in my mind, even though I'm recording it to like 3 o'clock in the morning following it. But I kind of want to talk about WrestleMania 40 and what is shaping up to be right now. So coming off SmackDown, we see the first confrontation between The Rock and Roman Reigns. Now, in a vacuum, that sounds great. That sounds phenomenal. 100%. Everybody's on board. We're all for it. But if you have context, well, we do have context of what have happened with Cody losing at WrestleMania last year, and then going, to losing at WrestleMania to Roman Reigns, and then going to, beat Brock Lesnar twice, going to basically being undefeated kind of throughout the entire year just to get back to where he won the Royal Rumble again. And then we thinking, okay, he's going to finish the story. Because a guy like me at first, I ain't going to lie, when Cody lost at Mania last year, I was hot. I was pissed. So I'm like, okay, the thought process is, we're going to see him, fight his way back. He's going to fight his way back to Mania. Throughout the year, I bought into the story. Especially after we won the Rumble, I'm like, yes, Cody's going to finish the story. He's going to put Roman Reigns to bed, all right? Now, Roman and Rock, that was a match that was supposed to happen, last year, WrestleMania Hollywood. The scene was set. Everything kind of made sense there. But as The Rock put it, pencils were put down. They couldn't come with a conclusion how they want to do stuff. So the match didn't happen. But we saw The Rock come back in September at SmackDown and then, but there was no hint to oh, he's ready to face Roman at that time. It was just kind of we thought it was going to be a one-off thing. Then he comes back in January, the beginning of January, and hints at taking a seat at the head of the table. That's the first indication we've seen of him actually saying something about Roman besides some things he said on Twitter or even on his show Young Rock. We're still kind of okay, are they going to do it? Are they not going to do it? People think he's going to come at the Rumble, be in the Rumble, be at 30, blah, blah, blah. It looked like Cody was the one to do it as he went on to even eliminate CM Punk and win the Royal Rumble altogether. So much so that even at the end of the pay-per-view or premium line event, I should say, he pointed at Roman Reigns in the freaking suite. So he's like, okay, we about to, he said, mwah, mwah, mwah. He pointed directly at the sign. He said he's going to point at Roman Reigns. He's going to face him. We like, okay, this is happening. This is happening. Now, let's break down, to get where we at now. Let's break down what's happened over the past week, because Royal Rumble was as I'm recording this, last Saturday, right? A week ago from today now. In that time, even before, Seth Rollins tears his MCL and meniscus on Raw when he had that match with Jinder Mahal. But that's okay, because he's able to come back in time for Mania. It's fine. That's fine. All right, cool, whatever. CM Punk, which I feared, like many others, because if you looked at his AEW run, especially towards the end, it was riddled with injuries. Man's tears his tricep in the Rumble match. All right. Kind of all right, what's about to happen? We go get Seth and Gunther still? That would be fine. That would be fine. Because going into this week, because we all know about the Vince McMahon stuff from 2022, but now we have further allegations coming out in detail about what happened. And I'm not going to go over all of that here. There's some nasty shit in there. I'm not going to talk about all of that right now. Sick man. That comes out on top of the week. This is Royal Rumble week. This is Royal Rumble week, because the beginning of that week, The Rock comes on to the TKO board. He gets the ownership of his name. Blah blah blah. All that stuff happens. Good week, and then in with the Vince McMahon stuff. So all that happens, right? Then, like I said, the stuff happened at the Rumble with Punk tears his tricep. So now it's okay. You can see, at least from the outside, and I'm not sure what it is on the inside, but from the outside, okay, WWE is going to have to make some changes, because in that Vince McMahon allegations or case, or however you want to put that, Brock Lesnar was involved with that as well, through some text messages and how he was involved. Not as much nastiness as Vince and John Laurinaitis, I will add, but Brock Lesnar is involved at some sort. So you want to expunge anything that's kind of dealing with that, as we saw with Vince McMahon being erased from the company and removed from his position as he had to resign, blah blah blah. So Brock not being there because we thought he was going to be in the Rumble and it possibly going to lead to a match of him and Gunther and Mania. That's what many reports were saying, and that's what like we were going to. So you don't have him at the Rumble. You kind of you switch that out. So that doesn't happen. So now it's like, okay, what is going to happen with Cody? What's going to happen with these world titles? Well, you had Seth come out on Raw, which was kind of different. Like we said, we didn't suspect Seth or Cody, I should say, come out to talk and go for that World Heavyweight Championship. We know he's coming for Roman. He got to finish the story. Finish the story of Dusty never getting that WWE title and fully holding it, which Cody is trying to do. Seth comes out. He talks to Cody, tries to, get him to see that he should fight Seth at WrestleMania for the title instead. Cody says, I'll think about it. Let me go to SmackDown and let me see what I have to say. SmackDown happens. Roman Reigns comes out. And, this is the main event and stuff, we're kind of watching this too. There was 20 minutes left in the show when this all was happening. Around 20 minutes left in the show. So something big was going to happen. You saw reports out there saying I think it was Wrestle Ops or Wrestle Features. One of them, they said, no spoilers, but tune in tonight. And this, I'm like, okay. All right. What does that mean? I see a tweet that says, Rock is spotted in Birmingham in the gym where SmackDown is that night. And I'm like, okay. All right. What's going on? I text a friend. Hey, I see some rumors. What's y'all cooking? Not going to say a word. Keep watching. All right. Last time I sent that text, I knew what happened. Rock came back. That was Colorado. I'm like, all right. What's going to happen? So Cody comes out. First off, you have Roman. He's out there. He's talking. And he bashes. Seth Rollins. Because, Rollins took some shots at Reigns on Raw. Talked about him, how he's been part-time. He don't work as many days. Roman then fired back. It's like, yeah, I don't work as many days. I may work less days than you, but I make more than you. And then meaning the World Heavyweight Championship, which, a lot of people, a lot of fans, we didn't want, I don't mind the World Heavyweight Championship, but one thing I don't want it to be, and one thing it kind of is, because if you really think about it, let's not have revisionist history right here. The reason why that title was even made is because Roman unified both the Universal and the WWE title back at WrestleMania in 2021, or 2022, I should say, when he beat Brock Lesnar for it. And nobody was able to beat him since then. And so much so because if nobody being able to beat him and being a part-timer now, you had to make a world championship for them to have on Raw. And they made it last year. And it was a good tournament. And I appreciate and I love what Seth Rollins has been doing with the World Heavyweight title on Raw. But, it's one thing for us as a fans to think about it and speak about it amongst ourselves. It's another thing when you have your top guy come out there and talk about the World Heavyweight title and basically call it the second or third rate title that it's the loser bracket. It's the loser bracket. It's like a bunch of guys that he already beat fighting for the loser title. So he's saying all these things, putting down Rollins and putting down the world title, and out comes Cody. Okay, Cody, what you gonna do? What's Cody gonna do? Cody comes out there. He talks. The fans are all behind it. Before he even got out there, the fans are chanting Cody. We're all wanting Cody to finish the story. All of us. At least some of us. We'll get to that. Cody comes out there. He talks about, what that title. He said, I'm coming for that title. What does it mean to him? And then he said, I talked to a council. I've been talking to a council throughout the week of, legends, friends, family, and trying to see where he should go, how he should go about this, which I kind of, as I'm thinking, even as I am talking about that right now, it's kind of like, you know what you need to do. What the hell you need to talk to a council for to get information about what you should do? You know what you need to do. You need to finish the story. Cody goes on. He talks about that. And he said, I will come for you, Roman. I'm coming for that title. This is the line right here that gets us. That turns everything. He says, but not at WrestleMania. When he said that, look, I said, oh, fuck. I knew what was coming. Knew it was coming. And then he said, after that, he said, I will come for that title. And that counsel that I mentioned, there was somebody who I talked to who knows you very well. And I was like, man. Before you know it, that theme music hit. If yes, I ain't gonna do it, bro. I ain't even gonna do it because I'm sick. I'm sick, bro. I'm hot. Man, look, let me just get to it. Because obviously, The Rock came out. When Rock comes out, grand entrance, everybody's going crazy. I'm going crazy. He shakes Cody's hand. They have that, that Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger type handshake. R.I.P. Carl Weathers, he died on this day. They have that handshake, brings Cody in, he talk for a little bit. Man, look. Fuck! What's this supposed to, look. I love The Rock. I love Dwayne Johnson even as the person. The Rock is my favorite wrestler of all time. Before the world knew him as Dwayne Johnson, as this big Hollywood star, I fell in love with The Rock as the wrestler, as the personality, as many of us had. And I admired him, his work ethic, what he has become, this mogul, this icon in pop culture and in the world of relevancy that we've seen right now. And I appreciate that he even still comes back and does stuff with the WWE as big as he is. A talent like that, one of the guys who made it possible for wrestlers like John Cena, Batista to break into the acting industry and have big successful careers and be big stars like they are today. I appreciate The Rock. All that said, I ain't got this man hanging up in my freaking apartment, man. I love The Rock. I've read his book when I was a kid. I admire that man. I love him. My goat. But man, let me tell you something. Let me talk to y'all. This shit happening, bro. It's less about the match itself of him versus Roman. It's how we got here that pisses me off the most. I don't like that. Because I wanted Rock and Roman last year. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind Rock and Roman last year. But, at the same time, it's okay, what would Cody do? Because at that time, we didn't have the World Heavyweight title. So once you have had Cody, win the Royal Rumble last year, you had to have him face Roman Reigns, which is fine. That was cool. But even for this year, because they pitched it last year, even for this year, we've been thinking, me, a couple friends of mine who we talk about this stuff in the wrestling group, and just people who you see talk about wrestling in general, the idea was tossed around okay, there's a picture even last year's WrestleMania it could be, and it could possibly, I don't know how likely it is it happened this year, but it could possibly happen this year, where you have Roman and the fall of the bloodline kind of take place in 2 nights. And we already seen the Usos lose the tag team titles, so that's already kind of taken care of. But in this iteration of the bloodline of what's going on in terms of Roman Reigns and his reign, you could have him, face Rock one night and then face Cody the other night for the title. That could take place. That could happen. And I wouldn't mind that. I would not have mind that. But what upsets me and is upsetting a lot of fans right now is you have Cody, like I said, go through all that he went through last year to get and build himself back up to get back to the Royal Rumble and win it again. The first person to do it since Stone Cold Steve Austin. To do all of that. And we all know that it was supposed to be the original plan. Where it looked like WWE was heading was Punk versus Rollins, night 1 of WrestleMania, Cody versus Roman. Now, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, injuries happen. You got this Vince shit going on. Things have to change. It's good publicity for WWE from the stance of, coming off those, the recent stuff with Vince McMahon and Punk's injury, for them to be okay, let's do this match with Rock. And Rock, he's been pushing for this match even last year. He came on the Pat McAfee show back in September to talk about how they tried to do the match last year, but they had to put the pencils down because they couldn't come to an agreement how they wanted to do it. So now the match is taking place. And, man, look, last time we saw Rock in the ring in a full match was about 11 years ago. And that match of Cena, he got hurt. So he was already in his early 40s at that point. Man, he's 52, 50-something right now. Now, he's in great shape. But in-ring shape is a totally different beast. As you saw even with CM Punk last week, he was in good shape until he got back into that ring, and that man looked blown up. this being in the Royal Rumble, even coming in later in the match. Like, it's a different beast. So my fear of even having that match is Rock getting hurt, because you know how important it is for him and his body, especially as he's doing all these movies and doing all these things right now. Rock getting hurt. I'm afraid of the match being crap. Because Roman kind of wrestles a slow style too. And I think this could work. This could be more of a spectacle type thing. It doesn't have to be like a Matt Classic, type wrestling, which I'm not expecting that at all. But I'm just concerned because who looks the worst out of all of this? It looks good for Rock. It looks good for Roman. It looks good for the numbers. It looks good for publicity. But what about Cody, man? What about Cody? Like, I would understand. I wouldn't mind it as much if Cody was already like a made man in the sense of like he's already had his world title reigns. If he was like, let's say if he was like John Cena circa, or like John Cena was in 2012. John Cena could have taken an L at that point. He could take an L and lose to Rock at Mania and The Miz the year before. He could take that. That's fine. Because Cena at that time won multiple world championships, still top dog. Like, that's fine. Cody just came into the company about 2 years ago. And let alone, like, even though he was a WWE original, he left and started AEW and come back to WWE. And the whole purpose, what everybody was like, was looking for when Cody came back to WWE was like, how is the company going to treat AEW talent? Because that was a real indication of like to see, as we're seeing some people to come over now, like a Jay Cargill to come over to the company, or even other people who might come in the future. How is WWE going to treat guys like, or people with talent in general from AEW, or anybody that comes from the outside into the company? Kazuchika Okada, if he decides to come, he might go to AEW, but like just people like that. So you take a guy like Cody, who's a quote unquote outsider, I guess, and you build him up. He is a big star. Cody is that guy. He's that man. He's that dude. But you're still putting guys like Roman above him at this point of his career. And you're putting The Rock, which again, I understand he's a big name. He's bigger than anybody in that company. He's bigger than any sports athlete right now. Like, he's that guy. The Rock is that dude. Like, you want The Rock in anything you're involved in, it's going to take your numbers through the roof. I get that. But the way that we got here and the execution of it, of Cody's basically just relinquishing his freaking title opportunity to just The Rock, because what? Because what? What's the reason? Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Like, in storyline purposes. Like I said, I already explained the behind the scenes purpose of what that might be. But storyline wise, how we got here is fucking dumb. I'm sorry. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Now, like I said, things can change. We're in this beginning of February, right? WrestleMania is not till the beginning of April, late March, whatever, right? Beginning of April. I think it's like 3rd or 4th or whatever. Beginning of April. We got some time. But as of right now, I feel like I'm echoing, and as I'm seeing a lot of fans' feelings towards this. Like, we love The Rock. You're not going to find too many wrestling fans who do not like The Rock. And what you're seeing now with a lot of, like, this discernment and people's anger and just frustration with what's going on right now is like, why? How do we get here like this? And why build up Cody to be this superhero just for this to happen? Now, let's get to Roman. Let's get to Roman real quick. Let's get to Roman. Because there is no fucking way Roman loses to Rock at WrestleMania. If that's the only match, no way he loses. No way. I am not here for a Rock title run at this point in his career and his life. Nor do I think that man has the time to dedicate to give a title run. That's not happening, right? So, is it safe to say? Let me address this real quick, all right? Is it safe to say that Roman is going to surpass Hulk Hogan on the all-time list? Notice how I worded that, because you got people out there who's calling it Hogan's record as if Hulk Hogan holds the record for the longest reigning world champion, WWE champion. That is not true. It's not true. He's 3rd all-time on the list. Roman would surpass Hogan on the list. That will be. Now, if he does that to get there, he would have to hold the title until September of this year, right? Now, if he does that, it's a big deal. That would be a big deal. It's already a big deal that this man is going on 4 years of holding that title. 5 calendar years technically, but 4 years in totality of him holding that title. That's already an amazing achievement. We have not seen that. I haven't seen it in my lifetime. Pretty sure a lot of you watching this have not seen it in your lifetime, unless you was around for the Hulkamania days and always saw Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino. That hasn't happened, right? So that's a big deal. But man, look at where we are in the bloodline story, dog. Can this story go that long? I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see if the creative, if Roman, if Paul, they can put their heads together and make this. Because let me tell you. After Tribal Combat, SummerSlam, even the Bloodline Civil War, Tribal Combat between Jay and Roman, I feel like the match could have been better. But what came out of that, and since then, nothing really has been happening with the Bloodline for real. You had Jimmy, put himself back in the Bloodline, getting his ass beat by them. Crazy, right? Talk about Stockholm Syndrome. Had him back in there, and he's acting like he's a tribal chief when Roman's gone. Jay's on Raw doing his thing. That's cool. And we know it's probably leading to a Jay and Jimmy match at WrestleMania. That's going to be cool. But where do you go after that, bro? Where do we go? You know what? I mean, Roman hasn't faced AJ one-on-one on this title ring. He hasn't faced Bobby Lashley yet. That'll be cool to see if it goes that way at some point. Randy Orton hasn't got his one-on-one match. So you do have some 3 big names on the roster he could face during it. If the plan is to get him there to surpass Hogan on the all-time list, that can be cool. But how do we get there? How do we keep this story going with Roman not being there as much? And, it's been, like I said, it's going on 4 years of this. To wrap this up, before I just keep talking and ranting about this, just to wrap this up, man, look. I am just disappointed because I bought into the story about Cody, even though, originally I was like, okay, whatever. I was on Roman Reigns' side, and now I've kind of, switched over a little bit. I still rock a Roman, but, not like how I used to, in the sense of, all right, things need to change. Something needs to happen in the sense of, garnering more interest. And this Rock stuff has garnered interest for me and for other people, but in the sacrifice. Is that the sacrifice of Cody, his character, his story, and the meaning, the World Heavyweight title on Seth Rollins in the process as well. That type of sacrifice is taken with, Roman Reigns and his bloodline story taking more precedence over everything right now. So, man, look. I'm going to watch regardless. I've seen darker and worse things in WWE during my time of watching it. If you know me, I bring this up all the time. I did not watch wrestling from 2018. I watched the Royal Rumble 2020, but I won't say I watched wrestling in 2020. So about from 2018 to 2021, I took a hiatus from wrestling because that was how fed up I was. From after SummerSlam 2018 to WrestleMania 37 in 2021, I did not watch wrestling because I was that fed up at that point. I'm not fed up right now because wrestling is, as a whole, with WWE, AEW, wrestling as a whole is in a boom period again. And I'm enjoying it. And I'm even starting to see people who don't watch wrestling or who haven't watched in a while come back. So that's pretty cool. But, man, look. I just hope this all works out. I'm just frustrated with how we got here and how this story is being told and how it, like I said, how it's making Cody and everybody look. But fuck it, let's see where this goes.